What's happening, people? My name is Robbie, and today we are filming from a slightly different angle than usual. I'm aware that it's very messy in here. Should have tidied that up, but I've got about an hour free, so I'm trying to squeeze in some videos here to get ahead. So please ignore the mess. I am working on it. I'm trying to find places to put all this mess. I don't know how this angle looks. This angle might be rubbish. We'll see. You're currently clamped to the desk. I think I've got things set up pretty good, but I might be miles off. Anyway, so as we're aware, it's now January. I just posted my portfolio update for January, first video of 2022, and hopefully I'm going to be more consistent this year. I'm going to try and post 2 videos a week for the whole year, shooting for 1,000 subscribers, and I think at least 2 videos a week is the way to do it. You might have noticed as well that I've been uploading YouTube Shorts as well. I don't know if that's going to help or hinder the channel, but might as well try it. So today, being Friday, reaction video. So Tuesday normal video, Friday reaction video. If you don't like the reaction videos, don't come to the channel on a Friday. And if you don't like the normal videos, don't come on a Tuesday. Ideally, come both times, watch both videos. That would be helpful. Anyway, today I'm reacting to a video by Mark Tilbury. You might know Mark from TikTok, very popular on TikTok. He makes business and finance content, and he uploaded a video titled How I Became a Millionaire Businessman by 26. So I was quite interested to see this video. I haven't even glanced at it, but I was quite interested to see it because I'm 27 just now. I'm not a millionaire. I'm working on it, but I'm not there yet. So I'm curious how Mark Tilbury became a millionaire by 26. Hopefully there's some juicy bits of information that we can glean from this. There is only one way to find out. Let's crack on.
Hi guys, it's Mark. So I made over $1 million in business before I was 26. Many people want to be millionaires, but in my experience, that first million is the hardest to earn. Today I'm going to be diving deeper than ever before into my past and identify the things that I did that were different to everyone else and set me up for the success I had in the future. My son Curtis is in his early 20s and he's well on the road to making his first million. So I've asked him to pull out the information from me because he knows me better than anyone. My aim is for you to be able to walk away from this video with real strategies that you can implement rather than the motivational fluff that so many of the gurus are dishing out. So far away, Curtis, let's get this thing going.
Right, so first of all,
I will say, before we get started, I think some of the stuff that Mark Tilbury uploads is that motivational fluff, as he puts it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's good content, motivational stuff. People need that, but it's nice to see, hopefully see someone being honest about their finances and how they got places, information that people can actually use that's tangible. It's what I try and post. That's why I talk openly about what I hold in my portfolio and things like that. I think that's more important than being vague and offering words of wisdom like the key to success is making your bed every morning. Anyway,
to ask because I was interested. When you were younger, did you ever want to be a millionaire? Was that your aim?
I think I always wanted to be rich. I don't think saying I want to be a millionaire was the thing I was going around shouting at everyone. I used to even go to London from time to time and I'd see these massive buildings and massive corporations, and it used to strike me that someone owns that. Why can't I?
You left school at 16.
That's the exact same attitude I have to things. Why can I not do that? If someone else has done that, why can't I? Buildings everywhere. You go into any city centre in the country and there are tall buildings. Someone owns them. A company owns them. A person owns them. Typically a company that a person owns, but someone owns that. What have they done differently that they own that building and I own this building? This is a nice building, for the record. I'm really happy with my house, but it's not a skyscraper. How do they get a skyscraper and I have a 3-bedroom house?
Probably could have continued a bit until you're 18, but you wanted to get out there and start working. What made you make that decision? Why didn't you want to stick with school?
Well, knowledge is power, but I've always said when you leave school, that's not the end of your education. Your education continues through your entire life. The reason I left school is because they didn't engage with me. The teachers they always had quite a boring way of teaching the subject, and yet they were teaching subjects that I know I should have been interested in. And then of course all the teachers sort of lost faith in me and said, oh, he could do better, he tried harder. But I just found it wasn't engaging.
I think you struck quite a strong point there, is that in life, if you want to influence anyone, be that teachers, business, or even trying to get a job, you got to engage, you got to be interesting, and that's a bit of leadership, I guess.
Well, I think it's all about believing in the vision that you have and the direction that you have.
So that kind of brings us on to your first job. Obviously, you weren't that engaged with that job because you didn't stick with it.
It was everything I wanted from the job. So if you can imagine going for a job interview, and you open the doors and go, oh, I course, that's heaven. That's what it was. It really was.
If it was that great, why did you leave? Let's get to the nuts and bolts of the situation.
Well, the reason I left is because I got straight A's in my college course and my apprenticeship, which
Just noticed from 16, his net worth was $500 and now it's minus 4,000 at 18. So what's happened there?
no one there had ever got before. And that very week, the manager stuck me on the bins, making these wooden trash bins. And that is not the job that I had qualified to do. And I said, at the end of the day, anyone could do this. And they said, no, you're on this job for the future, and it could be a year, it could be 3 years. It's a massive job for Walmart, and that's what you're going to be doing. And I went, you might think that. I'm going to be leaving, mate. So I started hatching my plan to start my business, which I'd always wanted to do.
One word that comes to my mind is defiant there. So you were like, no, I'm not going to stay here and do what I'm told.
You can be stuck in a job forever, you know, until the day you retire, because they end up making you feel comfortable there. So they give you enough money that it's a little bit hard to leave because you can't let go of that money. You start, going.
This is true. Golden handcuffs. You're stuck in a situation where you're making a good enough amount of money, the bills are paid, your mortgage is paid, but then you can't take the risk on leaving. You can't leave. If you leave, how are you going to pay your bills? So you just keep climbing the ladder, making marginally more every year through promotions and things like that. Not a bad way to live your life, but doesn't work for everyone. To be honest, some people aren't built for the entrepreneurial road. The risk, the uncertainty, the amount of money that you have to invest up front, sometimes you might not get that back. Some people would prefer to go down the route of employment, a steady income every month, do your job well, and you'll keep getting paid, you'll get pay rises, things like that. It just isn't for some people, like Mark, apparently.
For your life, you get a wife, you get a house and all the rest of it, and then there's too much risk to make that move. I made certain on that day that I was going to make that move.
I remember you telling me that you had multiple streams of income, not just the money from your job. You were doing other things like flipping cars. I don't know. You did multiple other things.
Well, certainly from that day, I developed those side hustles as much as I could. And, I had flipping cars, as you mentioned. And, I only ever bought a car that I quite liked. So if I was stuck with it, it didn't really matter. That would be my car. And I made a profit on every car I had. I used to go and work at the local model shop, funnily enough. And
the radio control model shop.
That's it. Yeah, exactly that. So I used to work at the model shop, and I also used to teach people to fly model helicopters on a Sunday. So I had 3 other income streams. Now,
so you had 4 income streams, including your main job, by the age of what?
Oh, that would be sort of 18, 19.
Okay, so wow. So that is a lot more than the majority of people. So would you say that's a thing that people should focus on?
If you do an hour a night, 2 hours a night, 3-4 hours extra a week on whatever you feel like doing, all of that money's extra money from your comfort money. Stick it away and invest it. You do that for about 5 years, it becomes a habit. You can't give it up. You're just ploughing it in. After 10 years, it's compounding and it's making more money than you're putting in. So it's a beautiful thing, to start putting that money by and making it work for you.
Was it all sunshine and rainbows when you decided to start? Or was there any challenges you faced along the way? Because I imagine people listening would be like, yeah, sure, I want to start a business, I want to do something, but I just wouldn't know where to start.
I had no idea where to start, but I knew I wanted to do it. So you start looking into it. Now, I'd say it's easier nowadays to start a business. One, you don't need premises. You just need an internet connection and a computer or even just a phone. So it's probably easier now. And plus, you can research it all at home in your spare time. There's always something new that you can be doing, or something that you can be doing better than somebody else. You can disrupt a market. Biggest mistake that I made in business was telling my friend what my plans were. Obviously, I shared that information with him. Lo and behold, around about 2 months later, he opened the shop and called it Model World.
It's unbelievable.
Terrible friend. Absolutely terrible friend. I don't think it's a bad idea to discuss your business ideas with friends. I discuss mine with my friends quite regularly. Just make sure you're discussing it with people that you trust, I think, is the main point here.
So a big lesson there for anyone and for me as well is to operate in the shadows, I guess, and not tell everyone what you're doing.
As luck would have it, I made the decision that I would continue working for him part-time because I thought, I wasn't ready, so I...
Hang on, you continued working for the guy that stole your business?
Yeah.
Well, if that's not operating as a spy behind the scenes, then I don't know what is.
It pretty much was, because I was getting all the telephone numbers, and lo and behold, 6 months after he started the shop, he came in one night and said, "That's it, I've had enough." I said, "Right, if you're selling it, I'm buying it. What do you want for it?" And he gave me a price, and he said, how are you gonna pay for that? I said, "Don't you worry about that. I'll sort out the money."
So how did you sort out the money? I mean, I want to know what your spending looked like, because you had all this, you had your main job and you had your side hustles, but what did your other spending look like? How did you actually save money?
Well, I probably spent on myself, out of my own money, probably less than 5% of my income. Less than
5%?
that. Yeah.
How were you managing that?
It's up to 12 grand now at 20. It's not bad, but 6 years to go for him to make $1 million. What's that? $988,000. He's doing it in dollars, which is a bit of a cop out, to be honest, but I've done that as well. So,
well,
Were you going out?
I live like a pauper. Well, anytime I went out when I was at that age, night clubbing and that sort of thing, because I don't drink, and people say, "Oh, you can't save that much by not drinking." Well, actually, you can. I was the designated driver nearly every single time we went clubbing. So they'd pay for my petrol, they'd take me for the night out, pay for my drinks because it was only Coke and lemonade, and then I'd drive them home. You can really progress your...
Couldn't do it. Tried it. Quite a few times I've tried it, and I think with the exception of one time, every other time my car ended up left at the pub, at the nightclub, wherever it was we were going, the train station, and I would go out and go and pick my car up the next day because I couldn't hack going out and being a designated driver. I'd rather stay in, to be honest.
Yourself, because if you keep that spending under control, you can invest, you can do everything you want, and before you know it, you've got income coming in from your investments that's more than you're able to earn in a day because you've not become time limited.
What did you do with the money? How did you buy the shop?
I saved up as much as I could.
Yep.
So that I had enough to make a deposit. I did a business plan. I knew exactly how much I needed to buy, what my profit margins were. I wasn't guessing at anything. It was all there in black and white. It was the perfect business plan. And he turned me down. So I walked out of the bank.
That must have been annoying.
It was annoying when you've done all that research and you've got everything right. Anyway, I walked out the bank and I could have gone back to my car because it took a while to get that meeting. But no, I walked down the high street and lo and behold, 2 doors down was another bank. And I thought, I know what, I'll go in there, I'll blag it a bit, I'll say I've got an appointment. Of course I hadn't. He said, "You know what, young man, I believe in people that do the right amount of homework. I believe in you. I'm willing to give you the loan with the amount you're going to put down as well. Absolutely, we'll back you and I'll be your first customer."
Wow.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. If there isn't, you're in a cave. Turn around.
So you started the shop at 20. Let's bring it to 22. What are you worth then?
I would say at that stage about $250,000 approximately.
Right, hold on. So we've went from 20 years old being worth $12,000. We're now at 22 and he's worth $250,000. I think, now I might be guessing here, I don't know what position you're in, but I think that 12,000 to 250,000 is quite crucial in the story. Obviously he's made that money through this model trains and cars and things like that by the sounds of it. He must have made the money through that shop, but how? How did he make that money? I feel like he's copped out a bit here, unless he gives us a description of what happened now.
We had some really good, start-up years, and we expanded as well, made the shop quite a lot bigger, a lot more stock.
So with all this stuff going on, and there's loads of stuff going on here, I'm a bit...
Juggling all over the place.
Even hearing about it is doing my mind in. How did you juggle everything? How did you do all the different things at once?
I've always held the belief that if you want something done, you ask a busy person. So if I want something done in a week's time, I'll ask someone who's busy because he'll schedule it in and he'll get it done.
Yeah, I suppose he has a system in place place for doing the stuff so he can fit you in.
Exactly.
Otherwise, someone that's used to doing nothing has a system for doing nothing.
Exactly. I think a busy person gets used to being busy, and I've been a busy person since I was at school. So I think I'm used to sort of managing my time in blocks. So I'll block out certain points in the day, certain points in the week, month, whatever it happens to be, and things will get done on those days because I haven't got any other days to do them.
Yeah, I think you're kind of referring to Parkinson's law there a bit. If you give a lot of time for a task, then it's going to expand to fill that time. And if you give a shorter time, then you get it done faster.
Yep.
How about the role of perfectionism? Do you think that you're a perfectionist?
Most jobs don't have to be perfection, all right, but it needs to be done well. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist. I'd say quite often being a perfectionist can hold you back because you procrastinate about what you want to do and you're forever second guessing whether it's good enough.
Yeah, I suppose you're moving forward, and if people are just thinking about moving forward, thinking about doing something, and they never actually do it, they're just staying in the same place.
Exactly. Nearly 3 years I'd worked solid every single day. Now, a lot of people say work.
So we've jumped up to 23 and an extra $100,000. Where does it came from? Give us some information, Mark. You said you were going to give us information, and there hasn't been that much, to be honest.
Work hard and you'll get to where you want to get, but I would say work smart now. That's the thing I learned from that. And
Work smart, don't work hard. That sounds like the motivational fluff that Mark was discussing at the beginning, that he said he was going to leave out.
It's not a good place to be working every single day.
Did you run into any problems with doing all so much work?
Yeah, I did get, I ended up making myself a little bit stressed out, and I was actually a little bit ill. So I went to the doctor, not because I felt it was stress. And he said to me, how's work? I said, oh, going really well, it's fine. He said, well, what sort of hours do you do? I said, well,
24 hours.
Yeah, I said every day. And he said, oh, really? So I told him the story of going to the suppliers and so on. He said, Mr. Tilbury, you're going to knock yourself right out. You're going to do yourself in. You can't work that number of hours without it doing some damage. And it was doing damage. He said, you got to go on holiday and relax.
So?
I went skiing for 2 weeks and it was great fun. And to this day, I love skiing and I go every winter if I possibly can.
Yeah, you've been doing it longer than me, but you're slower than me.
Yeah, not a lot slower though. We both did 100 kilometres an hour, didn't we, last time we went skiing? And I think you were like 1 or 2 kilometres an hour faster than me on the fastest run that we did.
So it sounds like you're this hyper-confident extrovert that went around chatting to people, and is that the only way to be successful? Is that true?
No, it's definitely not true. Actually, I am by definition actually a shy person.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
I feel like, I might be wrong, but I feel like Mark's son has been given these questions. The questions lead into the next point that he wants to make. This doesn't seem like a natural conversation. This doesn't feel like a podcast or something. This feels like, these are the questions, ask me them.
To put on a bit of a mask to sort of like go out on stage, if you like, with people and talk to people. But I think it's a skill that you learn, and the more you do it, the easier it gets.
I think if anyone who knew you from the business and everything, they would never say that, because I don't think they ever see that shyness side.
It's only practice. It's practice and forcing yourself into the situation, and then that tends to work, so it's good.
So let's take you from 22 to 24. What is your finance situation looking like then? What's your net worth?
I'd say about 24, I was probably worth about $500,000 approximately. So
Honestly, this video, I thought we were going to get some good information. He's told us nothing. He's at $500,000, and all we know is he owned a shop that sold model cars and trains, is what I have presumed that is. That's given us no information. I'm disappointed so far. And there is about 2 minutes left of the video.
Big acceleration.
Well, it does accelerate. Yeah. That's the important thing to remember. If you're investing wisely and you're not...
It's not a big acceleration at all. It's the exact same acceleration. From 20 to 22, he made $250,000 or $238,000. And then from 22 to 24, he made $250,000. It's not an acceleration at all. It's actually a steady increase. It's $125,000 a year. This video.
reliant on your time and selling your time, your actual worth can accelerate, and it will keep doing that all the while you're making these wise decisions.
So you come a long way, but you still got a long way to go. You still got to make another $500,000 to make that million net
In 2
worth.
years more.
In 2 years. So how did you do it? That's what we want to know.
At my business, I would say I looked at the profit that we were making, which was good, very good at that time, and I would cut it in half. So half of that profit would go back into the business to keep growing that business, to keep making that, well, for want of a better word, that fast money. And 50% of it I would put into investments. So those investments could continue working. And the majority of those investments...
25, we're now up to $700,000. That's an increase in acceleration. That's 200,000 from 24 to 25. How did he make that? Probably won't tell us.
investments were real estate. So, you know, the nice thing with those is once you...
Real estate. So finally we have something more tangible. So the model shop from 0 to 500,000, and then from 500,000 onwards, the model shop and real estate.
put it in, it's there, it's growing, and you can pull that in or leverage it at any time you want to borrow, which is the way it seems to work very well.
So you take that initial money, spend as little as possible,
Yeah.
get it into a multiplier, and then it starts going crazy, it sounds like.
I mean, obviously you get your times where your market's not up, so, it might level out, it might dip a little bit, but on average, historically, the market rises. So as long as you hold with it, it should come back to you, and that's the way it works, really. So it's worked very well for me, and by the time I was 26, I was worth $1 million.
So yeah, I've taken a lot from this.
So that's us at 26, he's worth $1 million with literally almost zero information on how he got there. Really good.
And I'm sure a lot of other people have taken some lessons that they can use in their life, and it's actual practical things that you can get on with, and I'm sure there's so much more to talk about.
It's not really.
There certainly is, and that's why we're going to do a new podcast, Like Father, Like Son, and it's coming your way soon.
That was an awesome segue. We're going to leave the link.
Video's over. So, what have we learned from Mark Tilbury, how I became a millionaire businessman by 26? What I took from the video is Mark had a model shop. I presume it's model cars, model trains, model planes, things like that, which is cool. Although, I'm just noticing now that this video is now unlisted. I don't know why it's unlisted. The only reason I can still see it is because I added it to my watch later queue so I could make this video. So maybe, I wonder why he's taking it down. Anyway, I feel like that video was just one big advert for the father and son podcast that they're trying to advertise at the end. There are people on the internet who give a lot of information on how they make their money. One good example is Daniel Louisi. He's a construction guy from London. He's got a company called Asheville. They do construction, they do aggregates, they do quite a lot. And he has a series called Asheville Weekly, I think it's called, and he documents everything that happens. It's a documentary about his work, essentially, about his business. And you can see exactly what he's doing to make his money. One day he's at the auctions, selling some of his old trucks to buy new ones. Sometimes he's on site at a renovation of a property. Sometimes he's filling up skips. He's showing you exactly what he's doing. Mark in this video has said, well, I had a shop and then I had 250 grand. Then I had 500. Then 26 I had $1 million. I wouldn't really have a problem with that, but the fact that at the beginning he said all these people on social media give you motivational fluff, and then he's given us 15 minutes of essentially motivational fluff. He's told us things like work smart, not hard, invest in real estate, which is a good advice, but it's pretty vague. I'm looking at the comments just now. Typically I would go through the comments and see what people are saying. I'm not going to show screenshots of the comments because there's nothing really controversial or exciting. This was an awesome video. Thank you, Mark. Really love watching your videos, super inspiring. It's all that type of stuff, which is cool. I actually do like Mark's personality in his videos. Seems like a really nice guy. But that video that we've just watched, I'm not particularly impressed by. I was expecting some tangible information. I have always been curious how Mark Tilbury has made his money, so at least we know that he made his money through model shop and then real estate, but how much tangible information was there? Let me know in the comments. I'm just gonna cut this video here because I feel like it's been a bit lackluster. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that video, am I being too harsh? I just feel like that felt like a big advert. Once we got to the end and realised it was an advert for a podcast, essentially, the whole video felt like an ad for the podcast. As I mentioned in the middle of the video, it seemed like the questions from his son were scripted and he was just asking the questions that he was told to ask, which is fine, but it just came across like an ad. I feel like I've been lured into something, clickbaited if you like. Anyway, first reaction video of the year, off to a terrible start because I don't think the video was that good in my opinion, but maybe you think that the video was good, so let me know in the comments and I'll see you on Tuesday. Also, let me know this new camera angle, does it work? Obviously this mess will be tidied, but let me know in the comments. I know it's really messy, but this angle specifically, or do I need to try and figure out how to attach the camera onto my desk somewhere else? That's it, thanks. See you on Tuesday.